guys, Graham from Paragon Performance here. We're putting the final touches on the tune on our Heads Cam package on our shop car here, and I wanted to take some time here to go over it with you guys, show you what the results are so you can see what to expect out of a Heads Cam package on a C8. We also have our Flex Fuel package on here utilizing the DSX Flex Fuel kit. So we're getting to both see what Heads Cam can do on pump gas as well as on E85. So let's go jump into it and see what we've got. As you guys may have seen from previous videos, this is our full bolt-ons Flex Fuel car previously before the heads and cam went in here. So you may already have an idea of what that can do, which is upper 400s on pump gas and pretty close to 500 on E85. Very good power gains over stock, but the next step here was the heads and the cam to see what that can do. So what we've added here is the Texas Speed heads and cam kit using PRC LTX heads. And in this case, we're using the largest stage 3 or LC7 cam, more of a race cam, but we wanted to see what the maximum could do. We wanted to tune it on the worst case scenario. You can select a stage 1 or a stage 2 cam if you want to shift the power more to the lower end and you want to have better drivability if you drive your C8 a lot. If you're going to use it on the track or you want the most aggressive cam or the most aggressive power, then the stage 3 cam that we have in here is what you'd want to be looking at. Other than the heads cam and all the supporting pieces that go with that inside the heads, we still have the full bolt-on package on here, which includes our headers, the Eventuri intake, the Lingenfelter PTR manifold with upgraded throttle body. So all that's the same. Still have the DSX Flex Fuel kit on here, and we're tuning it both on pump gas and pump E85. So that's all the details on the mods on this car. Let's pop over and take a look at the results. All right, so where do we land for power? On the screen here, I have 3 graphs pulled up. I always like to show a typical stock baseline for this dyno for a completely stock C8 on decent fuel, and that comes in at 433 horsepower and 416 for the torque. With this car on pump gas 93 octane, we're able to get it up to 512 horsepower and 456 on the torque. If you take a look at the graph, you'll see that below about 3,800 RPM, a stock C8 does produce more torque until the cam starts to really take effect at that point. So there is that to keep in mind. If you're looking at pump gas numbers, you will kind of lose a bit of low end, but you'll gain a lot of top end. Pretty typical with bigger cam. With this car on a mixture of E85, in this case about E72 is where we got it up to, we ended up at 559 horsepower and 479 foot-pounds of torque. You can see compared to the pump gas numbers, it makes more torque, more horsepower everywhere, and actually compared to stock, there's nowhere in the power band where stock produces more torque. So using E85, we actually get this package and this cam and these heads to perform better than stock everywhere. So you really don't lose anything, you just gain power. Obviously the biggest gains come at the highest RPM, but if you're going to be racing this car on the track or really trying to enjoy it in the higher RPMs, that's exactly where you want the power. In terms of street manners and drivability, it's pretty common knowledge that a big cam is always going to suffer a little bit at lower RPMs where the cam is very inefficient. The trade-off is the top end power, but there's usually a downside to the low end. I've spent quite a bit of time on our car working on making it as smooth and clean as it can be, and it's honestly pretty decent once you get it up into the RPMs. If you're going to be driving one of these cars more regularly and you want a cam but you don't want to have the low end drivability suffer, again, we do suggest considering the stage 1 or the stage 2. You're not going to get quite as much top end power. I would estimate 10 to 15 horsepower perhaps between the biggest cam and the smaller cams, maybe more like 20 to 30 between the biggest and the smallest, but you're going to gain more low end torque and you're going to have that better drivability. That said, this car is still pretty darn good to drive and tons of fun once you get it up in the power band and start ripping through the gears. Another thing I want to touch on is this power compared to when we tune these cars with forced induction. You guys have seen our videos on the Pro Charger and the Magnuson style supercharger kits, and you've seen that the power really isn't that much higher than this car is on E85 now. A Pro Charger car on pump gas or a Magnuson supercharger kit on pump gas often lands in the low 600s. So we're actually getting pretty close to that with a Heads Cam package. The benefit being here is that this car could be thrashed on the street, on the track more specifically, and not have to worry about the heat that builds up with forced induction. Forced induction can be a lot of fun in terms of having more power and enjoying it in short bursts. The Heads Cam package is nice for the guys that want to go to the track and thrash on this thing all day long and not have to worry about putting too much heat into it. So that pretty much covers the pros and cons of a heads cam package. If you're looking for a lot of extra power without going forced induction, this is the solution. You get a fantastic power band, lots more top end power, and you get that amazing aggressive chop chop exhaust sound if you're looking for that, of course. This is a package that we can ship out to a shop of your choice and also offer remote tuning for, or you can bring your car here and we can do the whole installation in-house as well as the dyno tuning. If you guys have questions, send us an email or schedule a phone call with us and we're happy to answer those for you.